I was leaving work one day to head home, and I was still in uniform, and I had my duty Tahoe, and I heard an accident being toned out to the fire departments of a jurisdiction that I would be traveling through for a reported head-on collision, and one of the vehicles was reportedly on fire. And I was about a half a mile from the accident scene. I immediately called dispatch and said that I would respond to the scene and then report and update them on the condition of the accident. As I arrived on the scene, I realized that there was a crowd of people around the second vehicle, which was down in the ditch area, and I shouted out my window as I was getting out, "Is there anybody in the vehicle that's on fire?" And they all said, "No, that person's out, but this person needs help." And as I looked around inside the vehicle, I noted that there was somebody inside the vehicle, which it was a little bit confusing at first because the person was wedged in the floorboard of the passenger side of the vehicle. I immediately started to evaluate the condition of the person, and I noted that his head was in a very awkward position, which was prohibitive of him breathing adequately. And I immediately had to make a decision at that point because I was worried about his neck stabilization, but I was also worried about his breathing. Being an EMT at the time and having been one off and on for almost 30 years, I knew that his airway was the most important thing at that time. And I actually was on my knees stabilizing the head and neck as best that I could. Right about that time, a trooper had arrived on the scene, and he came over and he said, "Hey, what do you need?" I asked him if he could go up to the back of my vehicle, which was up on the roadway, and retrieve my first aid kit. As I was trying to do what we call a modified jaw thrust, I was unable to open his mouth. I had a second option, which was a nasal pharyngeal airway, which I had in my kit as well. And the second that I got that established, he immediately took a large gasp and started breathing intermittently. I was told after the accident it was those life-saving efforts that we were able to do on the scene that gave him a chance to survive. Normally, we as first responders, we don't necessarily hear the outcome of a successful save, but I was contacted by his family members through social media, and they thanked me for saving their father's life, and that was the most special gift that I could have gotten.